bell curve by its nature has thin tails. People who will never change, people who will always change, but the bulk of the people are in the middle, right?
SaaSberry AI Podcast. Today's speaker, Roy Vella. Exponential change in technology and society.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the SaaSberry AI Podcast. My name's Chace, the host. Today, we're joined by Chris Cade and Roy Vella, and we'll be talking about exponential change in technology and society. So, Chris, take it away from me.
Thank you, Chace. Well, today's guest isn't just riding the wave of digital transformation, he's shaping it. Roy Vella is a global strategist, fintech pioneer, and AI visionary with a Stanford JD MBA, and a track record that spans from PayPal, Vodafone, and Nextco Lab, where he's redefining how humans and AI collaborate together. He's a keynote speaker, a growth driver, and a curious polymath who thrives at the intersection of technology and humanity. From building mission-critical solutions to advising startups and global enterprises, Roy's insights on exponential tech leadership and the future of work are second to none. If you've ever wondered how to turn disruption into opportunity, this is the conversation you can't miss. Welcome to the show, Roy.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Chace. Good to be here.
So we're pretty much going to talk about all the things in your wheelhouse. So let's kick right into talking about the nature of exponential growth. What is exponential growth curve and why does it matter, Roy? Talk to us about it.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I would say the defining curve of humanity is an exponential curve. And really, you can look at whatever you want. You can look at population growth. You can look at urbanization. You can look at economics. You can look at technology. I mean, the core curve is one that's got a very, very long growth, hits an elbow, and goes vertical, right? And that is how pretty much all exponential curves look. And what it means is that things change very, very slowly for a very long time. And then all of a sudden, they change very, very quickly.
Crazy.
And it applies kind of throughout the human experience. It's pretty shocking when you look into things over large periods of time, and that's what makes all the difference.
So how are these trends shaping civilization now? Especially, we are always talking AI. You're in the AI world. I know.
Sure.
Chace, Roy, and I are in a group, a masterminds group every Monday, and Roy's always the one that's testing things. I don't know how many hours a week you work, but you're always understanding something. So how is exponential trends shaping civilization now with AI?
Yeah. I mean, I would say what happened in 2022 was that we hit the elbow in technology, right? So for years and years since the invention of the chip and the transistor, we've said, no, Moore's law, like we're doubling every 18 months. We left Moore's law in the dust. Like NVIDIA is now doing 100x between versions and more sometimes, like the speed of everything. And so what really happened is in technology, we hit the elbow. And again, it's been a very long time coming. We've had technology going all the way back. The printing press is a early technology, right? Like, and technology has been moving slowly, predictably. Electricity entered, that increased things slowly. Then computers, slow. And what happened is 2022, we started to enter the elbow of the technology exponential curve. And it's incredible. I mean, frankly, I tell people, the chatbots, large language models, they seem to take all the air out of the room. People, I will say with confidence, 99% of the people who say AI mean large language models. And what they mean is a computer that you can talk to, like an interaction in English. But the effects of AI in science,
my gosh, yeah,
are unbelievable, like completely unprecedented. The discoveries in science already and what's coming in the next 5 to 10 years are just shocking. I can give you an example of that if you're interested.
Yes, I'd love to hear it.
Well, so there's a company, it was a British company called DeepMind, and they were AI forward, and they were testing ideas in AI. And Google loved what they were doing and said, "Hey, we love it. we're going to buy you, but keep doing what you're doing. So it became Google DeepMind. And the first thing they did was a model called AlphaGo. For your listeners, Go is a ancient game. It's somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 years old. It's mostly played in Asia. When you're a kid in Asia, in China, anywhere in Southeast Asia, you learn Go when you're in kindergarten. Like everybody plays Go.
Okay.
And the consensus was computers might beat us at chess, but they'll never beat us at Go. Go's just there's way too many options in Go, right? The first model that Google DeepMind had was called AlphaGo, and they trained it by letting it watch humans play Go. And it got pretty good at Go. Like it could beat us, we could beat it. It wasn't bad. The second model, they said, forget that human thing. Here's the rules of Go. They hit enter. AlphaGo then played more Go than all of humanity has ever played. And that model beat us.
Okay.
So there's a guy named Lee Sedol, who's the top Go player on the planet. And he played 5 games against AlphaGo. And there were 2 moves, move 37 and move 78. But by the way, he's a professional Go player. And in the professional Go world, there's commentators. There's like guys who are like, oh, that's like the Russian in 72. Like, this kind of thing. Move 37 and move 78. Everyone at the time said they're not human moves. No human would have made that move. And this guy, Lee, said that series of games, it was 5 games, and he lost to AlphaGo. He said, this is a guy, by the way, again, his life is dedicated to Go. Like that's what he does with his days. He finished the games and he said his understanding of the game had changed. Yeah. And again, it's scale. When I talk about exponential and AI, it really comes down to just things at a scale that are hard to comprehend.
Mm-hmm.
I give people a quick example on scale. Million, billion, trillion in seconds. So 1,000,000 seconds, it's about 12 days. 1 billion seconds takes you up to 32 years.
Jeez.
And 1 trillion seconds is 32,000 years. So you go from less than 2 weeks to 6 times written history, right? But our brains, we think million, billion, trillion is like a line. It's not a line. Times 1,000 is not a line. It's an exponential curve, And so, by the way, so AlphaGo, I told you I was going to tell you about science. I started with AlphaGo because the next thing they did is called AlphaFold. AlphaFold is protein folding. So, quick science lesson for listeners. There are 20 amino acids. The way the amino acids link up and fold around each other is what makes up a protein. We humans had folded 100,000 proteins. And frankly, we're very proud of ourselves. We're like 100,000 proteins. That's a lot of proteins. We're feeling pretty good. We gave the 20 amino acids to AlphaFold, hit enter. 2 weeks later, 200 million proteins.
Oh my gosh.
Like 100,000, not 200,000, not 2 million, 20 million, 200 million proteins. The guys who made the model won the Nobel Prize for it.
Oh, geez.
And they said it didn't fold all the known proteins. It folded all the possible proteins. It may have created proteins that don't exist in nature. We don't know. We haven't seen all the proteins.
Gosh. Just
and now,
yeah.
Their third thing is called AlphaProteo. AlphaProteo is taking the 200 million proteins and doing the protein interactions. And by the way proteins interact, we have a short word that we use for that. Life. like protein interaction is the foundation of all life as we know it. And that's what I mean. Like what's coming down the pipe is just nuts.
We're finding the customers that, and we also want our listeners to know everything about Next Collab, right? But with me, we built custom agents tailored for a use case, right? And I like to do the easy ones, right? Rather than these amazing things you're talking about, like Mr. Customer, you don't have a big budget. Let's just help customer service, right? Let's just do some very low hanging fruit ones, right?
Sure.
We can get these things done in a couple of months now. That wouldn't be possible. But last time, going back to health, last time I was at my doctor's, I was like, can I just record? And he didn't want me recording in there. And I'm like, I need to take I want to take what you're telling me and take my lab results, because we get the lab results, and I want to use GPT or Copilot
Yeah.
to help with me, right? And then I was thinking of even getting my own blood work done and tests to say, like, maybe I am a little bit different than his regular patients. And is there something we're missing? I mean, the type of projects that we're seeing, like you just mentioned, Roy, have changed so much. Like 10 years ago at Microsoft, when I was there, we had data scientists just trying to look at underlayer differences in data, right? Now, when you can just press enter and come back 2 weeks later and it's giving you what you just described, I can't imagine the doctors we're going to have on our devices, whatever they are.
No question. No
It's-
question.
It's
I mean,
it's
look,
more-
I tell you, I am certain that we're 3 to 5 years away from each of us having a personal assistant AI who sees what you see, hears what you hear, and I'll be able to say, hey, Joe, because that's what I name my guy. Who's that French guy I talked to? We talked about his daughter. He brought up that book. That'll be sufficient context for Joe to say, yeah, you spoke to Pierre. He's Belgian, not French, but I see why you would say that. But the book was this. Would you like me to buy it? Just extended RAM on all of our interactions.
Kind of like Iron Man's super suit a little bit.
100%. 100%. It is Jarvis, no question.
Mhm.
And the only reason we don't have it is hardware at the moment. And by the way, you go to CES, the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas, everybody's working on it. There are 100 companies trying to figure out, is it glasses? Is it headphones? Is it a pin? Like, the Humane pin that already failed, the Limitless recording audio. They're all trying to figure out, how's it going to happen? Is it going to be on my watch? Is it going to be somewhat through my phone? But it really needs to capture everything that I'm seeing. Like, and we don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. I can't remember when I was in Redmond, and one of our senior VPs had talked about what we have on paper. We don't have the hardware yet. And he was demonstrating contact lenses. And he said, imagine my first day at Microsoft. Like, he was the bigwig at, Salesforce or Oracle. I can't remember where he came from. And his first day, everyone knew he was coming. It was his first day. Imagine they simulated what the contact lenses, and it would be as he's walking down the hall and be like, oh, hey, Roy, how's it going? How's your wife, Lisa, or whatever? Like, knowing it's all coming up on his visual just through contact lenses. And then as he walks by someone, it'll actually say, hey, don't forget, it was Chace's birthday. Stop. Hey, Chace, happy birthday. And walking through the amount of stuff that's going to be pushed. And they were demonstrating it through future contact lenses. And that was.
So if you go, there's a show called Swan Song on Apple TV Plus. And in Swan Song, it's an interesting show about cloning, actually, but what's interesting in the context of this is the UX in the show. Everyone has contacts and earpieces that are powered by human body heat, so you don't have to worry about batteries. You put it on, it turns it on, and that overlays everything with augmented reality. That is seeing what you're seeing, and yeah, I mean, it's kind of no question we will get there. But the question is, what's the means? How's it going to happen? And by the way, the magic of Joe is going to be that one. So Joe, by the way, is retroactive. He joins it joins my alma maters, my clubs, my groups, my church, anything I'm a part of, Joe joins and opts in. And one day I'll be minding my own business, doing my work. And Joe's going to say, hey, Roy, a fellow alumni just posted a job that's perfect for you. I don't know the alumni. I'm not looking for the job. I'm looking for a job. But there's a clearing substrate that we all have that are connected and talking to each other, right? Like, and that's, I mean, the efficiency boost of that. Can you imagine? Like, it's just
life's going to move so fast when we have all that stuff. It's like we're going to be doing so many things in one day, like things that would take like months to do, all the things that we'll do in one day.
I mean, we already,
we already are kind of compared to 2 years ago.
Oh my God. I tell my kids, we used to pick up people at the airport and nobody had a phone. And they're like, how would you, that's impossible. How would you do that? Right? Like,
it does segue into technology's accelerating timelines. I mean, I'm tired of the bubble. I'm tired of this talk. I'm tired about low code. I'm tired about fear of jobs. The media does everything that I don't see. I see so many job opportunities. I see this augmenting people to be better. But the the accelerating timelines. Like if, I was there during 99, 2000, 2001. First of all, 99, I don't know how many thousands of PCs and laptops I sold because, the whole world's going to stop because of the new, the time chips on all these old PCs. Never happened, right? Sure sold a lot of PCs because of it. But
exactly.
But in 2001, you sell an e-commerce site. Well, it was millions of dollars. There was bugs, there was challenges. I'm not seeing any of that yes, we make an agent, we tune it, we tweak it, we go through UAT and we're like, hey, we think we got 85% on this. We're going to launch it out to a broader UAT and then all these, that's just tuning and tweaking. It's not like change orders where now we've just added 6 months onto the project timeline. We're talking about 6, maybe even an hour for them to just go and tweak and tune the question the way it was answered by that human that had bad grammar and bad spelling in their request, right? So,
sure. Totally.
The adoption now, what people are going to have, and the historical perspective from early tools to these modern AI. And you had already mentioned Moore's law and its impact on computing, right? But this is fast tracking anything that's ever been in front of us. And I think Brooks, another friend of ours, said to us, it's like the introduction of electricity and the light bulb hasn't been made yet, right? Like we've got this unbelievable thing there. We just don't know what the light bulb is yet.
Yeah. Well, and I would say that there's kind of only one thing that matters right now, which is how soon will we get an AI who is as good as an AI researcher, as a person who builds AI. And we are getting very, very close to that metric.
What is your timeline? I know they all said 27, but I think a lot of these people are saying 30 now. But within the next 5 years, probably.
I mean, so look, I don't think AGI, ASI, I don't know that that's even relevant or matters. It's when do we get to a point where AI can really independently improve itself? That's what I mean when I say an AI researcher, right? An AI coder and researcher who is actively now working on making AI better. When can I get an AI that can do that? That is a runaway train. That becomes,
and then it would just, it would grow so fast at that point, right? If it can build itself and upgrade itself every single day, it would be crazy.
It'd be crazy, right? And frankly, we don't know what that actually means. Like that.
Yeah, sure.
I tell people, like people talk about the existential risk, blah blah blah. I believe that that's biological baggage. What do I mean? We have no experience of intelligence that is separated from biology, right? I mean, all intelligence we've interacted with is 100% integrated with biology. What do I mean? Testosterone, dopamine, serotonin, like estrogen, like all of the biology that goes on is deeply integrated. So it's very, very hard for us to separate intelligence from biology. So when you look at a dystopian future, Terminator, blah, 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 any dystopian future where AI takes over, it's biology. It's not, and it doesn't have biology. AI at the moment does not care if you turn it off. It's not trying to replicate, grow, persist. It has no biological drives. It doesn't get lonely. It can just be smart. And, that is a possibility. That is a distinct, and they call it the Goldilocks zone. Like, it doesn't care. It doesn't generate a personality. I mean, people don't appreciate it's simulating a personality through words right now. It doesn't have a personality. It has no feelings. It has no emotions. It has no drive.
I mean, exponential innovation beyond computing, as we want to talk about. But you just triggered me to a good friend of mine. He's one of the top bug biologists in Canada. He tours around the world now talking about how they introduced bugs in New York recently, little flies, to take care of another problem. And and he works for the BC government. I'm pretty sure he's provincial and not federal. He's not leveraging. He's a researcher. He's a researcher. And I'm like, what are you? I picture him having 4 monitors in office, and each one has an agent helping him with these research. He's doing none of that. And I'm having a beer with them the other day, and I'm like, your world your life you will do more in a week than you do in a year. Not because you're not capable of doing it. It's just because of the time-consuming process that you do this with all these assistants, right? And
well, this is what I say. I mean, if I have to go all the way, define science. Science for me, hypothesis, data set, iteration. That's what AI is good at. I just take a mountain of unstructured data and I let it iterate. And now we're doing it at a speed that's just ridiculous. It's unprecedented. That's why I'm saying, like, the science RNA now, they're putting RNA into a weevil that eats wheat that doesn't kill any other creature. It basically changes the RNA of the beetle or whatever the creature is, so that it can't convert what it eats into food. So it just starves the bugs. Instead of spraying toxic chemicals over the whole field, and literally, I was just at a conference called Planet Action, and the guy on stage showed this little vial. He had a huge bottle. He's like, this bottle does 1 10-acre field. This vial does 150 acres. I was like, we are gonna, and so it's a difference between broadswords and scalpels. We're just gonna be targeting exactly the things we need to target in RNA and in DNA. And I mean, frankly, code is going to be saved in DNA. DNA is a great dense substrate for storing code.
Yeah. And going back to the paper that we're having this discussion on, exponential innovation beyond compute. You said it, like genomic sequencing, the cost and speed revolution, Swanson's law and the solar energy transformation, cross-disciplinary acceleration, how progress in one field boosts another one, right? Like how many, like that, and that's one, I love that one, like how progress in one field boosts another. Like, what can the bug biologist learn from the frog biologist that can learn from the tree biologist? There's so much information that would help the other one, right?
Yeah. Well, DNA and RNA. I mean, I think the statistic is 60% of our DNA is in common with a banana. It's I mean, there's just so much. And in fact, that's one of the magic things that large language models, that neural networks do, is cross-fertilization, right? Like the magic of the moment is that the bot can literally be whoever you want it to be. It has sort of access to all human knowledge. So you get cross-fertilization where you might not expect it. In fact, that's one of the fantastic tricks of prompting, is asking it to look at something through the lens of. So here's my pitch deck. What would a marine biologist say about it? I mean, this is the thing. You can do all sorts of stuff that you just never could do before, right? The cross-fertilization of knowledge and the way that you look at the world is way wider than it could ever be before.
It's interesting.
Yeah. And again, I think it is, look, the biggest problem we have is that it's an exponential curve, that the pace of change, we don't like change. Humans do not like change. By the way, for a very rational, reasonable explanation, evolution. I mean, let's be clear. Our ancestors saw or heard something new. Our ancestors ran and hid in the cave.
Yeah.
The ones who were like, oh, I wonder what that is, they got eaten or fell off a cliff or whatever, right? Like, right? Like, I mean, just by definition, now it's a bell curve, but the mean moves away from change, right? Because these are the survivors. The people who avoid the unknown survive, get jiggy with it, and have us, right? Like, I mean, that's just how evolution works. So, of course, people are averse to change. But it's a bell curve. There's always people out there seeking, risking, pushing, trying to find the future. And change is coming whether we like it or not. But the problem is the speed of the change, right? Like, so no one complained, Go ahead.
What are you seeing, Speed and Roy, in change? Like, I'm seeing, I talked to 10 people and might be like 5 kind of look at me and don't say anything. And the other 3 are like, well, they want to say it. I don't know where to start. And then there's 2 out of those 10 that are like, what are you doing? Get your guys here. Let's start going. And I'm like, holy, what a contrast from the 3 different types of people. What are you seeing from adoption? Are you seeing More and more
Yeah, I
people?
mean,
Because I thought they were going to be there now. I thought it was going to be a mad rush of people lining up out our
yeah,
office doors, and there are people, but they're the 20%, not the other 80%.
right, because it's a bell curve, right? The bell curve by its nature has thin tails. People who will never change, people who will always change, but the bulk of the people are in the middle, right? And it takes time, but these, like, look, 100 years ago, most of us were farmers. 75 years ago, most of us worked in factories. 50 years ago, most of us worked in offices. And now, look, you're in your office and he's in it. We're in 3 different places having a discussion, right? Like, these things change, but that was periods of decades where the change happened. This is going to be periods of years. The change is very, very quick now. And it is problematic. Like, I don't think we've solved all the issues in that regard. You hear people talking about junior people losing roles or having trouble finding roles. The problem with that methodology is you lose apprenticeship. The way a junior person learns how to do what the senior person does is by watching them and hearing them and listening and being in the room. If you think, I'll eliminate all the junior people, there's no one to take over when you're ready to do the next thing, right? Like, so
That's true, yeah.
we need to rethink, our apprenticeship model and how we do things.
That's huge. Where my first job out of college, I didn't even finish the programming degree. 5 jobs, went right into it. I was minimum wage.
Yeah.
For 5. And I said, hey, I want more money. And they'd be like, you can work 5 years in the field and learn a million things from us, or you can leave. And I did 5 years at minimum wage, and it got me to Microsoft, right? And so you mentioned something that means a lot to me, and I can't say this isn't going to change in 2 or 3 years from now, but the combination of human and artificial intelligence is most powerful. We always say augment, right? And so that line there that you wrote is critical to everything that I say, right? And goes back from lessons from chess and those other things that you talked about. But talk a little bit more about that.
No, I think I tell people all the time, like, if you are in a company or hear of a company where they go, oh yeah, we can cut heads and stay the same, I'm like, you don't want to be there anyway. You want to be in a growth anymore. No, you want to be in a place with a growth mindset where, I look at AI and I go, so I can do that much more with all the people I've got. That's what I want, right? Like, if someone's like, oh, well, you could do it with a lot less people, I'm like, well, you're going to be out of business because the person who's got the growth mindset is just going to roll over you, right? So, yes, there'll be short-term profit, maybe, but again, no apprenticeship and no ability to move forward with growth, right? It's just crazy.
I'm gonna because you said rethinking AI is augmented imagination. I love that. Is that a better term, right? But one of the projects we're working on right now is sales and customer service. Someone would call in and say, "Hey, Roy, what's my order? What's been delivered? When's the rest of it coming? Give me an update." And you would and they would say, "Sorry, Roy, I'll get Chace to call you back. He's your account manager. I have no idea." We built this agent that can answer that in Teams because they're a Microsoft shop. And now, instead of saying to the customer, I'll have Chace call you back, Roy, it's just like, what's Roy's order? And it boom, 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 every single detail. Like, can you just send this update in an email to Roy right now? Roy, it's going to be in your inbox, everything you know, and Chace's direct line's on there, or feel free to call me back. And so their CIO was like, okay, we built this one, but I got 20 people in sales and customer service. So even though we built one agentic tool, now 20 of their people all have these assistants that can close these calls off in seconds rather than a couple hours or the next day, or the customer satisfaction saying, Chace never even called me back yesterday, Roy. You said he was going to, all of that's resolved. So it is augmenting staff to do things better, right?
But look, look, we can't keep our heads in the sand either. There will be dramatic shifts. There will be people who are displaced. There will be people who have to retrain or understand how to use an agent as a co-pilot. There will be, and those shifts are painful. That has happened repeatedly. I tell people 100 years ago, there were thousands of guys in New York City who shoveled horse shit, and that job went away, and at the time, not so happy. But over time, we evolve and change. And look, it may be that we do reach sort of an escape velocity, that productivity writ large as a society means you don't have to work if you don't want to. That may, just base level food, health, housing is covered. Now, base level is probably not so appealing for anyone who wants to achieve more in life, but it's sufficient that it works. I mean, I tell people, look, we could talk about AI all day long. There's one existential risk that has already happened, and we don't talk about it enough, and we don't have to make that the content of this, but it's the demographic cliff, that all of the first world is under the replacement rate, meaning that 2 adults have 1 or no children. They don't have 2. The replacement rate is 2 having 2. Our entire world, our entire global economy is based on growth up and to the right. Growth is based on consumers who are growing up and to the right.
Yeah.
When we hit peak population, everything's going to change. Like we have a real serious. Maybe the robots will save us because we don't have. But even robotics only saves us on the supply side. It doesn't save us on the demand side when the population goes down. Right? And it's fun. I mean, I tell people, for me, our demographic cliff feels like that point in the tsunami when all the water has left, and we're like looking out. We're like, I wonder where the water went. And then we go back to our picnic, like nothing. I mean, like, it's ridiculous. We know everyone who's 35. Like, we know the numbers. Like, we're gonna peak out. And AI is going to help us replace the supply side, but not necessarily the demand side. And so that's a more real risk to me than AI could ever be, because it has happened. It's already done.
The difference between what sells in the media and discussions with you, Roy, are so dramatically different. You're so insightful and precise versus fear, right? It's like here's the reality. And I think what you just referenced, Elon Musk was just talking about on stage yesterday. He sees you don't have to work. It's optional, but are you going to be satisfied with no luxuries and now capability to go and have things that other people might have? But again, for the people that maybe seniors or challenged situations, they can live comfortable without fearing a lot of the things. So before
Elon's doing his best to deal with the population challenge too, as you know.
Yes, yeah. But talk to us about Next Collab. What did talk
Next
to us
Collab
about the
is
and
no, we're the collision of 2 big trends. One, that many, if not most, meetings are happening in little windows on screens, and large language models. So for the first time ever, we can do a qualitative and quantitative assessment of meetings, right? We have 75, 80 years of behavioral science and academic studies and rigor that up until now, we didn't have a way to measure it, right? There was just no way to measure an interpersonal interaction that we call a meeting. And we spend most of our time in meetings. And, you don't measure it, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
You do measure it. Hey, now you got a shot, and what I tell people, the metaphor that I think is most appropriate, we're an MRI machine for meetings. You get to look inside, see what's working, see what's not working, and do something about it. Yeah. And really, I mean, when I distill it all the way down to its essence, it's feedback. None of us like to receive or give feedback. When we receive it, even with the best intention from your wife, from whoever, the person who loves you, you take it as criticism, you take it as a critique. I did something wrong. And we don't want to give it. It's loaded with baggage. I'm your boss. You're my boss. We're peers. And so the vast majority of the time, 90% plus, we don't do it. We walk away from the meeting without commenting in any way, positive or negative, to the person who could use some feedback. And that's the funny part, is we all want feedback, but we want it in principle. We don't want it in practice. And what we've actually done is made an objective third-party observer of a meeting who says, here's what I've seen. And here's the ABCs. Here's the actionable behavior change that you could make to make the meeting better.
Right. Yeah. And I also see sometimes in these meetings, okay, where do we go from here, guys? We all seem to be interested. We all seem to have but we need to define. And it would be great if something could say, I think based on all the feedback today, this is where you guys should be. These are the next steps. That would make things a lot faster from even sales cycles and adoption and that. So what prediction for the next exponential leap are you seeing? Like, what are you thinking out here, Roy?
Yeah, I mean, I think that description of Joe, of the personal assistant who sees everything, is right around the bend. And frankly, I'll tell you right now, I put my money on Apple because, well, I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Apple is very, very explicit and clear that they sell hardware and software, not you. That everything else it's so encrypted that they don't have access to it. The FBI can threaten them all day long. They can't unlock a phone. It's encrypted. There's no way for them to do it. And if I'm going to have Joe, that's all about trust. If Joe's going to have access to my email and everything I see and everything I hear and everything I do, it's trust. Not that Google won't also have it. Google will have, Android will have that ability, but you'll also probably get some advertisements interjected into the interaction. You know, I think if you're in the Apple ecosystem, I think Apple's they're gonna take what they learned about, Vision Pro, and they're gonna take what they know about mobile devices and watches and everything else, and they're gonna start to go in and frankly, they already have. Like, they're trying to upgrade Siri to be much more of an assistant to what you're doing, and they're gonna work on the hardware to make it part of your life, and I think it's not far-fetched at all that in the Apple ecosystem, you'll get it from them.
So personal relationships with devices, that's the big one you're seeing come up. That's it.
Well, okay. So there's
I don't mean like that type of relationship, but having
right. Yes, exactly.
Like,
there
hey,
are
Chris,
people.
Last night, Chace and I were in the office and a friend showed up and he said, hey, let's go down to the breweries. My phone's going to say, no, you shouldn't be going to the breweries, Chris. You've had I'm like, damn, phone is telling me not to go. Sorry, Blair, I won't be able to go tonight. But
I mean, yeah. I mean, like, we're all, biofeedback, like Oura rings and all of the like we do like data. We do like to, and having the assist. I mean, as you said, walking through the office, having information come into your eyesight, like, and look, not everyone's going to do it, but that's going to be the next wave. It's going to be, and by the way, I think already people are radically underestimating the multimodal nature of all the bots. I pretty much don't solve any problems anymore without pointing my phone at it first and saying, here's what's not working. Here's what's broken. What brand is this? Okay, I need a replacement for that. Like, literally in real life, like, fixing whatever, some sort of anything in the house. Whether it's my boiler down in the basement or whatever it is, like, you point your phone and your bot says, well, here's what I think,
even with a dishwasher I repaired for a friend recently, I was actually, what does this sound like? Right. And it actually, it was dumb. I do it with everything. This has been great. I think we could talk for hours. I love the quote, Augmented Imagination. I love everything you're doing. You guys can reach Roy at nextcolab.com. He's happy to show you a demo on how his technology is changing the way we look at meetings. And Roy, it's always a pleasure, and I'm very thankful for you to take the time and speak with Chace and I. And I'll pass it over to you if you want any final words, and then I'll let Chace finish off our podcast today.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. Great to chat. And the message I would say, what I have on my LinkedIn, it says skeptical techno optimist. I'm like, you should question everything. But the world is getting better and better as far as I can tell. And will continue to be so. Today was great. Tomorrow's going to be better.
Man, you're so positive. I love that. Chace, you want to...
it was very engaging. I love the positivity. I can't believe 40 minutes just passed. That was the fastest passing podcast I've ever done. But anyways, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And thanks for joining us at the podcast.
Thanks, Roy.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Chace. See you guys.
Cheers.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
SaaSberry AI Podcast. Today's speaker, Roy Vella. Exponential change in technology and society.